They got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems. I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back. Tell me I'm garbage. I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression is all that I wanted. The phone and affection, I summon and dub it. Cause I got problems on problems.
I'm available more than usual.
Okay. And what's going on, everybody? Welcome to a gaming news live stream. That is right, guys. A gaming news live stream. I have fallen in love with doing things live. I have fallen in love with kind of like the interactions, you know, in the chat. Even the mistakes, like not having my microphone set up or whatnot. Like I have fallen in love with the whole live situation. So I just thought it would be fitting, instead of doing a gaming news kind of like video or stuff like that, I searched the Twitterverse to find gamers, true gamers, see if there was anybody around to talk gaming news. And guess what, guys? I have found the cream of the crop here, guys. I am joined by Fun Speculation, aka Mav. Yo, what is going on, brother? Nice. Yeah, the certain tweet that we're going to talk about really kind of irked me. Yo, guys, I will say, I started a new job. I started a job full time. It's 12-hour shifts, 2 days on, 2 days off. So I am catching up to things right now. Like I worked the whole weekend. 24 hours in 2 days is a blast, by the way. But I'm going to be doing 36 in 3 days every other weekend. But so I'm catching up, and I saw a certain tweet or whatnot. But I think we need to... Oh, it's really quiet. Hold on. I'm working on it. All right, Matt. Oh, yeah, it is. Okay. All right, Mav, just say hi real quick just so I can see the levels, and we'll be good. And nope. Hold on. Gotta go.
Yeah, I crazy too.
There we go. See, guys, Mav's here. Mav, want to say hi?
Oh, hey.
There he is.
Can they hear me? Hi. Hi, everybody. I'm here.
Yo, we're here. Guys, we're here. Gaming news. We're talking about it. I am joined by Fun Speculation. He went through his whole intro and everything like that. He's really excited to get in and talk about things and kind of get some stuff off of his chest. Unfortunately, yours truly had a brain fart when it came to OBS, and you guys didn't get to hear that. But you're gonna hear the most important things from him, okay? And that is his opinions on, you know, Cyberpunk and their apology letter, Colin Moriarty and what he is saying about the Xbox Series X launch, all that good stuff. Let me switch over to the other scene real quick and make sure I got everything stabilized there as well. And as I'm looking, that is good. That is good. And let's see, do we have our guest in here? Mav.
Yes.
Yes,
Hi.
we do, guys. Yes, we do. You guys are going to be treated by the screenshots of Halo Infinite, as we're going to go in and talk about other things as well. 9Live says Moriarty is doo-doo. Or is that a happy pile of pudding? I don't know. Some people speculate. It's a mystery, guys. It's a mystery. Is that pudding or doo-doo? But, guys, let's get over and let's get into the meat of it real quick. We're going to do that. And I brought up Cyberpunk's apology letter. I am going to read it for you guys real quick, and then we're going to get into it. So, dear gamers, first of all, we would like to start by apologizing to you for not showing the game on base last-gen consoles before it premiered, and in consequence, not allowing you to make a more informed decision about your purchase. we should have paid more attention to making it play better on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Second, we will fix bugs and crashes and improve the overall experience. The first round of updates has just been released, and the next one is coming within the next 7 days. Expect more, as we will update frequently whenever new improvements are ready. After the holidays, we will continue working. We'll release 2 large patches, starting with patch number 1 in January. This will be followed by patch number 2 in February. Together, these should fix the most prominent problems gamers are facing on last-gen consoles. We will be informing you about the contents of each patch ahead of their release. They won't make the game on last-gen look like it's running on a high-spec PC or next-gen console, but it will be closer to that experience than it is now. Finally, we would always blah, 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 blah. We will always like everyone who buys our games to be satisfied with their purchase. We would appreciate it if you would give us a chance, but if you are not pleased with the game on your console and don't want to wait for updates, you can opt to refund your copy for copies purchased digitally. Please use the refund system of PSN or Xbox respectively. For box versions, please try to get a refund at the store where you bought the game. Should this not be possible, please contact us at helpmirefund@cdprojectred.com, and we will do our best to help you. Starting from today, you can contact us for a week up until December 21st, 2020. Humbly, blah, 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 CD Projekt Red, all these guys. You guys are awesome.com. The last .com, I gotta say, I put that in there. But so here's the deal, guys. You know, people are upset about the performance and how the game looks on the PS4/Xbox One, and CD Projekt Red came out with an apology. And when it comes to the bugs and crashes and stuff like that, and I believe that's for next gen as well, because I've seen people, you know, having issues with the game next gen as well. Mav, I gotta ask you, bro, and I will share my thoughts and opinions. What do you think about this letter? Was this letter warranted? Do you think people were being overly dramatic about this game? Like, what do you think here? And I'm gonna ask you about CD Projekt Red and how they built up so much kind of like rapport with the gamers before the release of this game. I'm going to ask you what you think about it after. But what do you think, man? Was this warranted in your opinion? And should people be looking at this in a more positive light? Like they're coming out and they're trying to do something for people here.
So I got a lot of mixed feelings on this. Okay. So I have been playing the game on Series X. I've had minimal issues. It looks great, runs great. It has less issues than most games, in my opinion, on Series X that come out that are this big, right? Like these big open world, huge RPGs always usually launch with bugs and issues, right? And I've noticed about the same amount or less, actually. Now, current gen, or last gen, Xbox One, PS4 is where most of the issues, I think, are where people are having a lot of these issues, right? With the strange thing to me is that this is a last-gen game. The next-gen patch isn't even out yet, right? And it's funny how, to me, in the letter, they are actually addressing that, you know, that, hey, especially on last-gen consoles, like, they weren't making the game for last-gen consoles to begin with, right? If the world didn't exist right now where these next-gen consoles were here and everybody had bought it just on last-gen consoles, then it would be way worse of a situation than it is now. And they're kind of falling back on that a little bit as, hey, you know, it performs good on new consoles and PC, you know, but this was supposed to be a last-gen game. So that doesn't make sense to me as far as what their letter says. However, I don't know the last time also I've seen a company actually reach out and in video games and talk about refunds like this, right? So that is you can say that's some goodwill there. So it's kind of like a mixed bag. Like, I take a lot of what they're saying in the letter, like tongue in cheek, like, hey, it's not really an excuse for the performance on last gen consoles because this is a last gen game. At the same time, you are acknowledging and offering refunds, which is a positive thing. You know, you're standing behind it, even though you kind of misled people to begin with. So it's a mixed bag for me. I don't know how to feel about it. I do think they kind of pulled the wool over people's eyes, but at the same time, you know, if you're on PC and on next gen, it's also not as bad as people are making it out to be. I haven't played it on One X or PS4. I do know people that have, and they say they're enjoying it fine. And if I think back to even like games like The Division 2 that came out, the pop in on that on One X was crazy, right? So maybe that's to be expected of these massive 1X games and PS4 Pro games anyway that are like this. So I don't remember The Division 2 getting that much backlash over that. And when I was playing it, I was like, man, this van looks completely different, like, and then it's morphing in front of my very eyes that I'm standing in front of. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I think it's a lot of hype also, and people have really crazy expectations and excitement for the game. And when it comes out like this, it kind of like hampers their experience and dampens it a little bit. So that's probably also why there's so much backlash. But you know, yeah, it's interesting, man.
You know, it's crazy when you bring it up, and I didn't even think about it. You're right. This is a last gen game, so why you know, when it comes down to it, you know, you look at the footage that was shown. You know, even kind of like the earlier footage, and then you look at the game on. I hate saying last gen systems because I'm still on one. You know what I'm saying? I'm actually right now. I'm actually rocking the VCR Xbox One, to be really honest with you, man. And it's hilarious. The thing is huge, but like to see the footage, even early footage, and to see how it doesn't match up on these quote unquote last gen systems, I think you make a great point on that, man. And that I gotta go with you on that. That, you know, it just seems like they were aiming for next gen, but quote unquote playable on this gen. And if there wasn't, you're not echoing anymore, by the way. I fixed that, you know. Guys, thanks to my OBS prowess, this will be the last time Fun Speculation joins me on my show.
No, I'm good. I was trying to make sure I didn't have an issue on my end.
Yeah, no, I fixed it. Double audio outputs were going on, man.
Okay.
But you know, and Mav, it's funny to me because CD Projekt Red earned so much respect when it came to The Witcher 3. Like, I saw their career building up with Witcher 2, and then Witcher 3 just blew up. And then the amount of content people got. And let's be honest here, Matt, Witcher 3 did not perform well when it first dropped either. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, but the aesthetics, like, you know, they matched up to what they showed, stuff like that. And, like, do you think this is a fall from grace for CD Projekt Red, or do you think they can and will redeem themselves if they come with like the quality content moving into the future, DLC stuff like that they did with Witcher 3, bro?
I think currently it seems like it, but we're living in the now, you know, where it's this just immediate disappointment that people have with what they're experiencing. We've been through this so many times before with these massive RPGs and these massive games like this, right? It depends for me, and business in general and companies in general. It's not always about being perfect every time. It's about what you do when you make a mistake, also, or when you have issues, right? And if they can earn the goodwill back. I mean, they're also doing like the free 4K next gen update for The Witcher 3, which is at this point it's an old game, right? So things like that, we're gonna get probably more enhancements and stuff for Cyberpunk and more updates, and you know, I think they're gonna keep that game supported over the years. So based on what we've seen from them in the past, I would think that they'll probably earn the goodwill back. However, right now it's not a good look. Especially the main thing was with not giving the reviewers review copies of the current gen titles to kind of give people a heads up of what to expect from that. And that, I don't know if that was intentional. It's kind of coming across like it was, because they're acknowledging that they kind of knew that the current gen or last gen, whatever you want to call it, consoles were not performing well. So there's a little bit of, sleaziness in here, but they're also offering refunds, and yeah, I'm enjoying the game. I have no issues personally.
Well,
right?
they're offering refunds, but they're telling you to go through PSN, go through Xbox
I know.
Live, go to the stores, which like you would just do normally anyway. And then if they won't do it, give us a call and we'll try to help. That is so weird. Like they literally rolled up a basic procedure that people would do anyway, right? Mm-hmm. They rolled that up and they said, well, try to do that. If it doesn't work, we'll try to help you.
Yeah, I'm wondering if they have some kind of contact with these retailers to get some kind of program in place with them to make that easier. Hopefully that would be the case, because I know, most retailers in the US at least, if you open that game, you ain't taking it back, So
that's true.
I don't know how they're going to handle that, but regardless, like, I think they probably would stand by what they said and help out with that email. At least they're trying to do something with that, I guess. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to beat them over the head about that part of it.
Are you sure? I thought you had your club in your hand already, and you're just
that part of it is not really what I have an issue with, because I think that's like them trying to say, okay, we knew this was going to be bad, but hey, we're going to try and stand up for this, right? But the part that I kind of have an issue with is the part of the letter where they're talking about last gen consoles not performing well, when this was supposed to be the only reason we're in this situation now where there's a comparison is because the game was delayed so much, right?
Yes, sir.
If the game wasn't delayed like a year, then that's all we would have is last gen consoles.
Dude, my brother Predator has the limited edition Xbox One X Cyberpunk edition. Like, it was supposed to come out with its own, limited edition Xbox One X, all that good stuff. And yeah, dude, right. That's Mav. That is a great point. And the funny thing is, when you watch the gameplay and the gameplay that CD Projekt Red put out there and everything, you wouldn't think this was made for last gen. You would think this was made for next gen, but can work on last gen,
Exactly. It's backwards compatible right now, technically. That's how it's running. It's running in like a backwards compatible mode. It's an Xbox One game. It's a PS4 game. It's not a Series X game. It's not a PS5 game. But as soon as it was delayed past next gen release dates for consoles, all of a sudden everybody's minds flipped to, hey, it's a next gen title, because whenever you ask, hey, what next gen game are you most excited for, everybody's saying Cyberpunk. It's not a next gen game, but I get it. It's a huge game. Now, also, based on what I'm playing on the Series X, it's not as that buggy on there. Like, I haven't had a lot of issues. Now, I haven't played it on 1X or 1S, so I can't really speak to that. But the screenshots of the like texture pop in and the loading of the textures and stuff is in the frame rate dips is what I see most people complaining about. Also some random crashes. So I think they'll get a lot of that ironed out with updates. But even when you go back and look at some of the gameplay videos that they had with the demonstrations that took like 45 minutes, an hour long, you saw a lot of pop in on there as well, right? Mm-hmm. That was pointed out by a lot of people. That stood out to me when they're driving in the desert. There was a lot of pop in of the bushes all kind of popping up right in front of the car. So that kind of had raised a red flag to me at that point. But a lot of people didn't seem to think it was much of an issue. Now it's an issue that the game's out. But I think they're going to update it. I think it's going to end up being okay. It may not look as pretty as you want it to on last gen consoles, but I think everybody.
I'm used to that right now when it comes from going to the original Xbox One. I already got a downgrade to my golfing game, and any of the games I played, I just got used to the graphical kind of like downgrade for my games now. But yeah, no, it's amazing how quick Mav, kind of like a fall from grace. You know what I'm saying? Like CD Projekt
Yeah.
Red was held on a very, very high pedestal, and now it just seems like they're back in the pool swimming with the other developers, kind of at that same level now. They got knocked down quite a bit, man.
Yeah, but how many games like this launched with these type of issues? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like it's just them. It's also partly because of the type of game that it is. They could be fixing bugs for years on this game, optimizing it for years. Eventually, they had to get it out, right? It wasn't ready, obviously, on last gen consoles because they hadn't optimized performance properly yet, and that's why they did that last delay. For some whatever reason, I don't think they could afford to delay it again. So it's out there. They're kind of dealing with that backlash right now. I think it's going to continue to get optimized and updated, and everybody will end up being happy at the end of the day. This is a game that's going to be played over and over again for years. It's an amazing game. The story is incredible. All of the RPG elements in it with the upgrades, the abilities, the dialogue. It's a great game for me. So I see why it was such a technical achievement, right? And ambitious to try and create this. There's not an excuse, but you could also say the same thing for Bethesda when their games come out. You can say the same thing for, like as I said, Ubisoft with the Division, and also you had issues with Watch Dogs, right? Legion.
Yes.
So Activision had Call of Duty Black Ops Cold Wars crashing all over the place and frame rate issues on consoles. For some reason, a lot of games are coming out that have a lot of bugs and issues right now. Maybe it's COVID. I don't know.
We are enjoying that x86 architecture to the fullest when it comes to consoles. It's like, man, we got to release the game. It's funny, Mav, and real quick, and then we'll move on in it. But it's funny that you brought it up because one of my questions is, a lot of people are talking about, the game's not finished, this, that, or whatnot. Do you think like the game should have been delayed again, or do you think that they were hard pressed because, like you said, it's a last gen game, and what I'm thinking is the further you move into 2021 and you're working on releasing a last gen game, that's a little bit of an issue. What's your thoughts, bro?
It's tougher. If they would have went back in time and made the decision with the ambition that they had, just to like say, hey, this is just going to be a next gen game, with the last gen port at some point later down the road, I think that would have made more sense. However, that's not what they had planned. This game has been in development for a long time, so they couldn't really do that, So at some point, yeah, you're right. They had to release the game, and I don't know if necessarily delaying it again would be the answer, because even if you release it 6 months from now, there's still going to be bugs in it, right? They're going to keep optimizing and giving patches for a long time on these kind of games. But if they would have been a little bit more upfront with the review copies and the footage that they show of the different versions of the games, I think that would have gone a long way for people, so they can make a better decision on if they wanted to wait until they got a next-gen console, or if they wanted to wait until more patches and updates were out. And that's kind of where they are with this refund process, and why I think they're offering that, because they acknowledge that they did not give people a proper heads up on the condition and the quality of the last-gen games. All the footage shown was mostly high-end spec PC stuff, right? And what was shown from the Xbox versions, I think was kind of shorter clips, and they maybe kind of cherry-picked what they wanted to show.
Oh, they definitely cherry-picked, bro. They definitely did. But that I mean, that's kind of like a standard. Even when it's all gameplay from a particular, set of hardware, they still cherry-pick that as well. But
I got a good example real quick, right? So look at Halo Infinite when they showed that gameplay running, right? They got killed for that, but it was honest. You know what I mean? So that led to them delaying the game. We didn't have the honesty of, what was actually going to be experienced from them.
Yeah. I mean, and Halo Infinite is a completely other, and we can talk for so long about that. But I know you're doing double duty today. You got another show, so I am gonna kind of race through this a little bit. And guys, as usual, I gotta do your typical business side of YouTube, guys. If you are enjoying the talk right now, definitely hit that thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed, definitely subscribe. And I believe the super chat is working. I don't have Doggy Dog here to tell me, but I believe it's working. So if you want to support the channel in such a manner, we do read any super chats out loud if they are questions, shout outs, stuff like that. It's kind of it's an unwritten law when it comes to this community with super chats, and we definitely adhere to that law. So the next thing up, and this is going to be interesting, guys. Colin Moriarty of gaming news fame. You guys all know Colin, and again, I'm catching up on gaming news, so I just kind of came across this morning, and I kind of couldn't believe it. But Colin Moriarty tweeted out, it was December 11th. He says PS5 apparently had the best launch month of any console in American history, and Xbox Series XS sold worse in its first month than Xbox One. Is it a surprise? I don't know. A lot to digest. There's a lot to digest, and I'm not sure about the quality of the food right now, brother. Dude, this is really interesting to me because, and I believe there were people who did respond and responded in such a manner that I would respond as well, which is the fact that these systems sold out, people. These systems sold out. So it means, to me, it means the number of systems that Xbox and PlayStation put out there, they all sold out. So, Mav, I don't know. Can you clarify what do you think about this? What is Colin here trying to do, and is there any credibility to what he's saying here? I don't get how, dude. This just looks like clickbait to me on Twitter, man. This is so weird. What do you think, bro?
Oh, it's not just him. There's a lot of websites and stuff that kind of post stuff like this for clicks. I will say that I don't understand the point of making a post like that when you already know the reasoning behind the why you already know the answer. You know what I mean? I would think that he's intelligent enough to understand that it's not just a popularity contest. You know what I mean? Now, obviously, we already know that PlayStation is more popular anyway, though, right? And right now, people are trying to get either one of these consoles. They can't. What I mean?
Hold on. So, why can't they, Mav? Why can't anybody get these, man?
Because they're sold out everywhere. They're sold out.
Yeah. So if numbers are lower on one side, if people are, kind of gauging sales when it comes to hardware between one company's piece of hardware, the other company's piece of hardware, both companies' hardware is sold out, doesn't that mean that, they basically, the numbers were less that were manufactured and shipped out for the lower number piece of hardware, right?
Yeah.
How are people feeding into this as some type of valid kind of like, I guess you could say fuel for the fire for the people who are into console wars? And Mav, I think you know me. You've followed my channel. We've talked and stuff like that. I really don't get into console wars. You know what I'm saying? I will talk. Yeah. I do prefer Xbox. I will talk about what I would call hills and valleys, between each platform and stuff like that. But like this, to me, this is not even a talking point. And if you look out there, people are actually like using this to try to, I don't know, shame, Xbox gamers or something like that. It's how are they trying to use it? How is this valid to any type of like person of common intelligence level, bro?
Because it is not being made for the person of common intelligence.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
So, it's being made for people to feed on narratives and to have conversations that are pointless and to have discussions and arguments over useless and pointless topics. Just like we're discussing right now, no offense, but it creates this kind of dialogue because you have to go in and kind of correct it. It's like, why do people have to make just negative trash posts all the time about either console, right? Jokes are fine, or like you want to make a joke here and there, or you want to actually point out an actual issue, right? Hey, that's cool too. But to make something out of nothing, to ignite some kind of fire, like you said, in people and try and trigger people, is just kind of ridiculous and irresponsible, and not just by him, but I see it all the time with websites with clickbait articles and headlines. So what? Hopefully that a lot of people see this stuff and they can kind of see through it. But you know what? They made more consoles. Bots bought more consoles because they made more consoles.
Well,
therefore that resale market is also higher, right?
Real quick, my bad, but shout out to Nine Lives. He said Xbox said that they had their best launch ever. Now, when you look into what they said about that, they said, in terms of consoles in more territories, like when they come out with things like that to promote or to market, the words are picked very, very carefully, guys. So I think a lot of it was more territories, stuff like that. But I do think that, spreading it into more territories, I also think that they didn't have as many Xbox Series X's and S's, especially S's. They actually didn't make as many S's. Due to the entire situation going on in the world. I mean, all this really shows to me now, Mav, correct me if I'm wrong here. All this really shows to me is that Sony and PlayStation had a jump start on manufacturing and getting these things out when there were worries that there were going to be issues, and when it came down that, I think they started manufacturing first. They got everything in order first, therefore they got larger numbers out to the gamers and customers first. To me, that's all this says.
Yeah, and maybe it's because they were waiting on that AMD chip, to actually have more features in it. Possibly, just putting that out there because it's true.
So because it's facts. You know what I'm saying? Might want to throw that out there.
So we know that also. I don't know. The thing that was surprising to me, if you want to take any surprises away from this, right? As like, hey, that's interesting. Hey, I didn't know that. Is that a lot of us have been led to believe that PlayStation was not going to be able to manufacture as many because of the yield issues.
Yes.
Right. However, that seems like it didn't stop them from manufacturing as many. But also you have some issues out there that are getting captured on footage quite a bit, but we don't know how prevalent that is. I don't think it's going to be a major issue. They can probably fix it with optimizations and stuff like that, right? So, they went ahead and made a lot of PS5s, and Xbox waited to start manufacturing until after the chips came in. And actually, they already had said this. Phil Spencer actually said it in a interview. So, you know what? It is what it is. And if people, I was hoping Xbox would have more out there available for people. The demand is high. So we'll see. Regardless of what, right now, it doesn't matter. Right? What's going to matter is a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, the availability, how they're doing with sales, the games that are coming out, how Game Pass is doing, what PlayStation does with PlayStation Now, and if they change that service at all, the reviews that come out on those games at that time. This is the start. This is the kickoff to a console generation and both consoles are doing amazing with sales, and there's nothing negative about that. So anybody that makes a post saying, "Oh, like, hey, this is like crazy," this is really bad for Xbox or whatever, it's just kind of trying to start something.
Trying to poke the bear there real quick, which
Yeah.
we all know in social media, especially gaming communities, there's a lot of poking of bears and this and that and kind of like trash talking back and forth. I will say, I didn't even think about kind of like the perspective of, we heard rumors about yield issues and stuff like that, and then Sony comes out and they get more PS5s out there in the wild, and we've seen a bunch of issues. I know again, it's just food for thought. It's nothing that I don't think you're putting it down as concrete, this is what happened, because we really don't know.
I have no clue. I tried to get a PS5. My pre-order was canceled by Target. So I would have one, and I would be able to give more feedback on my experience if that didn't happen. But it is what it is as far as that. All I can go by is like the stuff I see and the stuff that is like artifacting, right? Mm-hmm. But it is what it is.
Nice. And like I said, that was interesting. I didn't even really kind of throw that together, and that's why it's always good to talk to Mav. And just for you guys, if you guys don't know, if you've been living under a rock, Mav does have a YouTube channel. It is called Fun Speculation. I highly suggest checking that out, and hitting that subscribe button. It's something to do. You're not going to be disappointed. But we do have to move on to the next thing, and I don't necessarily have a graphic for it. Okay, so when it comes down to it, I'm going to switch over to the first scene. Make sure everything is good in terms of the audio. We're looking good here. So I do want to talk about Perfect Dark, because the VGAs happened this past Thursday. We did a live reaction here on this channel, a laid back live reaction. Yo, Jesse, what is up? Good afternoon, brother. But a laid back live reaction. Got a little crazy, some of the people going back and forth, just like talking smack, the way gamers would do in an Xbox Live party or something like that. It was a lot of fun. But we saw the reveal trailer for Perfect Dark, so we finally know the initiative is actually working on Perfect Dark. There's been multiple rumors, third-person action adventure game. Then they're like, oh, it's Perfect Dark, and then they're like, oh, it's episodic, or like similar to Black Mirror and stuff like that. So we finally know the title that they're working on. Now, from what I've seen out in the gaming community, Xbox gamers, people who prefer to play on Xbox, are insanely hyped for this. The trailer looked really cool. Again, unfortunately I did not capture it to put on here. I apologize for that, guys. But the kind of like reveal trailer looked really cool. But people are pointing to the fact that when it comes down to it, the hype level across the gaming community doesn't seem to be that high. When you look at the reveal trailer and how many people watch it on YouTube, it's not hitting like astronomical peak numbers, and people are pointing that out. And I have a theory to this. So Mav, I'm actually going to go first on this one, and then you can come in and give me your thoughts real quick, okay? Mm-hmm. My theory here, when it comes to the hype for Perfect Dark, I feel that people who are invested in the Xbox ecosystem, especially people who have been invested for a while, you go back and you think of, you look at Rare, and Rare, they own, the Perfect Dark IP. They're the ones who came out with it. Of course, on the 360, you had, Perfect Dark Zero that came out. And there's this whole thing around the Xbox gamer, especially the Xbox gamer who has been there for multiple generations, that they are definitely hyped for this. How are they going to change it? How are they going to grow it? It is an Xbox title ever since Microsoft bought Rare. It's an Xbox title. Whereas in terms of the broader scope community, I think people liked the reveal. We're kind of interested in it, but there's been so many years between a Perfect Dark game and the announcement and the reveal of a new one that, you know, there are a lot of new gamers out there that don't necessarily know. They know the name Perfect Dark, but they don't know of the game. They don't, you know, they either haven't played it or stuff like that. And I feel like a CGI trailer might spark some interest, but for people who don't necessarily know the game, it won't spark a lot of hype until they start showing gameplay. I feel like when it comes to this game, the hype is going to come out when they reveal gameplay, and if the gameplay is absolute fire, because then people who don't necessarily know the Perfect Dark game, but they just kind of know the title, I think those people, as long as the gameplay looks fire, everything looks interesting, I think that's when you're going to see the hype from the broader gaming community. So, Mav, I just put my 2 cents out there real quick, and you know, I can kind of go on and on about this, but I put my 2 cents out there. I put my general ideas. What do you think, man? Are you in agreement with me? Do you think that maybe the hype is there, and people are just kind of underdeveloping, underselling it right now, or what do you think when it comes to this trailer, and, you know, people kind of throwing it out there saying that, you know, it just seems like the community is just not too hyped about this game, bro.
Yeah, so I think a couple things, right? Like, it's a new studio, so you know, it's not like people have the expectation, oh, Bungie's new game, or it's you know, BioWare's new game, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's not Sony Santa Monica's new game. People haven't developed that trust factor with the studio yet, so there's less anticipation for, hey, what's this studio's next game? Now, the hardcore fans of Xbox know the studio and have been waiting for this, right? So the hardcore Xbox guys are like chomping at the bit to see what's next with this, and I think the hype's there from that. But from like the general just casual gamers and people that aren't as much in the know, that may not be as familiar with the IP, number one. So it might as well be a new IP. You know what I mean? Like, Perfect Dark, to a lot of people, is new. And also, we don't really, for even people that are familiar with it, we don't know what to expect from the game. It's going to be a brand new thing. It's going to be a brand new experience. We're never going to have played a Perfect Dark like this before, right? Brand new team, brand new studio, brand new take on it, brand new take on the genre, all that. So I think the excitement's there. And once they show, for these new IPs like this, especially from studios that haven't made a game before, I think the excitement and the crazy hype is going to come when you see the first gameplay, like you said, you know, and people see, oh my gosh, that's what this was, you know, that's what they were talking about. Holy crap, this looks amazing. You know, you can say the same thing about, like, Callisto Protocol, right? That trailer looked incredible. That game looked incredible, right? But it's a new IP, and there's not as much crazy excitement out there right now about it. You know what I mean? So, it just kind of goes with, hey, a bunch of factors. Now, is there hype for it? Yes, there is. You know what I mean? But it's not going to be as much hype for things that people are more familiar with. One, coming from studios that they're more familiar with. Two, and also, you can honestly, we can be honest and say that it's because it's an Xbox title also. So there's also just a lot of haters out there as well, right? That are just going to kind of ignore it. But as far as excitement for the game, for me, I am pumped, dude. I was so happy, and it doesn't matter to me also if it's a new IP or if it's an existing IP. What matters to me is if it's a good game and that it's going to be a new experience, right? So I think we're going to get that, and I think when we see the gameplay, which we get to be excited about now, we know what it is. We get to be excited and hyped about that, right? When we get to see that gameplay, it's going to be crazy.
Dude, and again, you know, back when the initiative was announced and, you know, people were asking what the studio is all about, I know Xbox at some point in time, they said quadruple A game. Like, it is like, whoa, we've only had 3 A's. You're adding another A to this. So, Dude, I do like the kind of like what is it, like eco apocalypse types, like kind of like environment to it. I know at the end of the trailer, seeing Joanna Dark, right, and seeing her on the rooftop looking out, and you see the Great Pyramids, but you see this like huge tornado with lightning coming out the sides, kind of like coming and touching down. I'm really interested to see how they're gonna blend kind of like the universe of Perfect Dark, because there's got to be some underlying this is Perfect Dark type scenario to this game. Whether it's the espionage gadgets, stuff like that, and blending that in with kind of like this eco climate apocalyptic kind of like environment, doing stuff when these crazy storms are coming and destroying cities and stuff. That's what I'm thinking, like as like the trailer was showed, especially at the end. I don't know, it looks incredible to me. But yeah, dude, and yo, shout out to the chat, guys. Huge shout out to the chat. I think a lot of people are absolutely right. They're like, let's see who said this. Pong Soul, I believe. Mav, Pong. Pong is of course a huge supporter of all the YouTubers in the community and stuff. Yo, good to see you, Pong. He said, "Perfect Dark is basically a new IP at this point. Many of the younger gamers don't even know about it." And brother, that's what I was trying to say. And I think you worded it better than I did at that point in time. Chipmunk says pyramids in gaming is always awesome. Yo, shout out to you, brother. But yeah, I'm glad, Mav, we're in agreement that once it's the gameplay, I think that's when people are gonna stop and kind of look at it again, like, yo, what was that? Yeah. As long as they bring it, though, now. Just one thing about this trailer, because Halo Infinite was delayed. It was supposed to be the Xbox One first party title for the launch of the Series X and the Series S, and it was delayed. And people talk about Xbox has no games, and when they say that, they mean they're basically saying first party, because multi-plat, third party, they're going on everything, man. I could play Call of Duty on my phone as well. Games are everywhere. But do you think that, because this, I believe this game is in very early development. They just built this studio a couple years ago. Do you think that Xbox felt pressure to bring a trailer out to show people something, and to show people something that they would think, could snag kind of like the hardcore Xbox gamer and get them hyped, and then also kind of catch other gamers' eyes, people who might not necessarily play on Xbox or something like that? Do you think that Xbox was feeling that pressure and decided that they needed to put something out and something big out, and that's why we got this trailer for the VGAs, bro?
I think they do feel some of the pressure, just because there's so much of that talk out there that's unfounded about Xbox has no games, right? So there's always that pressure. And even with everything that they announced at the Xbox Game Showcase, that didn't stop the talk about, hey, Xbox isn't invested in games and stuff. And it's like, hey, what do you mean they're not invested? You know what I mean? Look at all these games that they just announced. Look at the $7.5 billion they just spent to bring all these Bethesda games and ZeniMax games, So they're invested. However, they still need to show stuff in order to stop the talk, stop people saying this stuff, and to get people talking about the games instead of that, right? So I think there was some pressure there. However, they're also just going to have a crap ton of stuff to show. So they got to take advantage of every opportunity that they're going to have on a big stage to show some of their stuff, because you talk about 23 studios, you talk about all of these games that they're going to have in development that we already know are in the works. They're going to have to be creative with finding time to show the next trailer, that show the next gameplay, to show all this stuff, because there's going to be too much. There's going to be too much for one stage.
Yeah, it's insane. And so, when it comes to the studios, again, this is what I feel. I feel like they invested in all these studios. I think a lot of it is to really support Game Pass and to be self-sufficient. You know, get third party in there, no doubt. You know what I'm saying, but make it to where even if there's not as much third party or whatnot, they have like a studio. Like I think Matt Booty said three or four Xbox exclusives every year. Matt, do you remember Matt Booty? Did he said 3 or 4? If you remember, right?
I don't remember exactly, but it's going to be something like that. And you're talking about big games. There's going to be more exclusives than that, also, right? Because you also have some third-party games that are exclusive, and on all those kind of things. But when you're talking about the amount of studios they have now, I don't know how many's going to happen in 2021. I know we've got a Halo Infinite and some other possibilities. Maybe they haven't been announced yet, but the Medium's coming early 2021 as well. But as far as stuff that we don't know a lot of things. Like we don't know Compulsion. We don't know In Exile's next game. We don't know if there was just come out that like Rare has like 2 other possible projects in the works. I mean, it's crazy to think about the possibilities here. And also there's been speculation that an initiative could potentially have more than one game that they're working on. I don't know if that's true or where that comes from, but I've heard it from multiple people. So
that would make sense, actually.
It's interesting to see all of this stuff happening, coming from where we are, where we were last gen. And now you got this machine going that has all of these studios working on multiple franchises, and we're all going to get it on Game Pass.
Ooh, brother.
It is mind-blowing. It is mind-blowing, guys. Get ready for 3 years from now. Just put yourself in the future. Stop thinking about what you didn't get to play a few months ago. Put yourself 2 or 3 years in the future and think about the stuff you're going to be playing on Game Pass, and say that Xbox is not invested in games and the gamer, and you might look like a fool.
Yo,
just putting that out there.
Definitely, brother. And yo, to think of, and you know what's funny? I know you said like 2-3 years into the future. I have a feeling that 2021 is like the start where the wheels start speeding up there. You know, so even from next year going into 2022, and then no, you don't invest in all those studios and have them drop all in 1 year. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no, there's too much.
It wouldn't make sense, bro. It would not make sense. But Mav, we pretty much gone through everything. I'm not even gonna get into Halo on this one. But I'm you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna leave you the mic, because you said there was some things you wanted to get off your chest as well. If there's any other topics in the gaming world right now that you want to get into with me before we kind of close the door, we got 120, it's 122 over here, so is there anything that you would like to discuss before we kind of wind this down, bro? Ooh, never had that before, have you?
Yeah, no, that's interesting. It put me on the spot. I if I was to get into anything, I would say end the negativity, be positive, love games. It's all for our enjoyment. This is not serious stuff, right? It's okay, right? It's okay if something isn't as amazing as you wanted it to be, right? It's okay if a game gets delayed, right?
Oh, how dare
it's
you.
Not the end of the world. It's okay that you didn't get to play something you were excited for a few months ago, or coming up this year, right? I think the negativity and the toxicity that we see from a lot of not just fans, and gamers, but also content creators, journalists, and that kind of stuff helps lead to that narrative and that talk. So I think that if we all can just enjoy video games and have fun. Talk about the games and how amazing they are. Like this, for example, CD Projekt Red. Right, there's issues here, but oh my gosh, that creation, that what they made is amazing. The world that they created in Cyberpunk is mind blowing. The stuff you can do in Cyberpunk is mind blowing.
Dude, the visual customizations for characters, the pictures have been all over the place on Twitter. I'm
yeah.
Oh my goodness.
It's insane, dude. The combat is good. Like I heard people nitpick so much over little things that, because I think people get these. Now you could say maybe it's because of some of their marketing, right? They kind of set in reasonable expectations as well, but people get these like astronomical expectations in their heads of like a reality that does not exist. You know what I mean? That nothing's going to come out and be perfect. At the end of the day, Cyberpunk is a video game, right? It doesn't transcend video games to the point where it's a whole new thing altogether. It's still a video game. You know what I mean? And I think people have forgotten that because of how much hype that this game had. It's gonna have bugs. It's gonna have issues. It's gonna sometimes have texture pop in or like a frame rate dip. Now too much of it at launch, yes, maybe on some platforms, right? But that doesn't mean that, oh my gosh, the dialogue isn't amazing. The story doesn't grab you. You know, sometimes it's easy to just harp on the negative and instead of embrace the positive. So, you know, have fun with it, guys. Instead of focusing on that one thing that happened that's, you know, people are talking about on Twitter, you know, so you have to screenshot it and show it to everybody else and say, oh, this is horrible, when it only happened to you maybe one time, you know?
Yeah.
How about just like say, hey, this is also an amazing game. Look at all this cool stuff, right? And it's not just this goes beyond Cyberpunk, you know, this goes to a lot of things. There are issues out there. They happen, right? And things should be called out. But to the extent of the outrage that some people have, is a little unfounded.
Nice.
That's what I'll get off my chest.
Yo, nice, man. And dude, did it feel good? Did it feel good to say it like that? Because I felt better just hearing you say that, man. Because so many people have turned into armchair critics. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Couch developers, stuff like that. I remember,
yeah.
Dude, I remember growing up, with the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, the Genesis, stuff like. There were games that were my absolute favorite games, and they performed like crap. I don't know how many times the original Battletoads would freeze, and I would have to restart. Kind of blow the cartridge, all that good stuff, and pray that it didn't do it again, and stuff. And we have never gotten a perfect game. Let's be real on that. It's just that games will attach to you. Certain games like you will absolutely love. Like one of my Mav, I don't know if you know this or not, but one of my absolute favorite franchises, and I haven't gotten a new one in years. It's from Monolith Studios. It's a game called Fear.
Fear, man. Alma, stay away from her. She's bad.
Yes, and like, dude, in no way were any one of the Fear games, Fear 1, 2, or 3, none of them were perfect. They all had bugs. They all had issues. But that franchise is still one of my absolute favorites for the immersion, just the environment and what was going on. And you're right, Alma was crazy. She's like one of my favorite characters in video games. Nobody can mess with Alma. But people have gotten to another level, and I think a lot of it has to do with social media has become second nature now. You know what I'm saying? And there's all these popularity contests, aka talent contests, aka look at me, look at me, look at me type situations.
Phone's ringing. Somebody,
that is
answer
ringing.
Your phone on
brother,
air. I want to hear.
Brother, I do have to go. That was That was a very important phone call. So I do got to wind it down now. Yo, Mav, again, had an incredible time hanging and talking with you, brother. Let people know. I did put in the chat as well. I put your YouTube channel. I will put it again. But let people know where they can find you, brother. And you're going on another show today, actually very soon. Let them know about that as well, bro.
Yeah, so coming up here at 2 p.m. Eastern, be on Mads Gaming for the Next Gen Squad podcast. But usually you can find me on Twitter at Fun Speculation, on YouTube, Fun Speculation, where I have my podcast, the Xbox Ultimate Podcast. It hits Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. You can also catch that on the audio platforms, even though I'm late getting my audio recording up from this past weekend. I'll get it up today. I appreciate all you all listening, tuning in, hanging out with Xbot for all of this. This is like just off the cuff, right?
Yes.
He not planned. Is awesome. You should do more stuff like this, dude. And yeah, it's been fun. Looking forward to. Oh, also, hey, 4 Guys with Quarters on Tuesdays. With I'm on the panel there as well. So yeah, nice talking to you guys.
Nice. And shout out to Clowns, 4 Guys with Quarters, man. Absolutely love that channel. The support that 4 Guys does in the community is absolutely stellar. And shout out to them. Shout out to everybody in the chat, guys. Thank you for hanging out with us on this quick kind of like gaming news, spur of the moment. Hey, let's talk about this stuff show. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, hit that thumbs up button for me. And I'll even say for my special guest right here, just because he's here. You know what I'm saying? If you haven't subscribed, definitely subscribe. But guys, have a great Monday. Hopefully we made your Monday a little bit better, and we'll be talking to you guys again soon. Go over to Mads Gaming and get into that show as well. It'll be live in 2 shakes of a lamb's tail, like 14 minutes or so. So guys, again, thank you so much for all the support. I will be talking to you guys very, very soon.
Bye.
I got problems on problems on problems on problems on problems on problems I solve them. I run through the money, the pressure be calling. Left on my blessings, I feel like I'm falling. The birdie is back, tell me I'm garbage. I'm going through something, that's why I ain't calling. Phone and progression is all that I wanted. The phone and affection, I summon and dub it. Cause I got problems on problems.